Emily Carter stared at herself in the mirror and sighed. Her best friend, Sarah, had spent 3 weeks convincing her to go on a blind date. Just one date, Sarah had begged. He's successful, kind, and single. What do you have to lose? Emily knew exactly what she had to lose, her peace. She was tired of men who only cared about appearances. Throughout her life, she had been praised for her beauty. Men noticed her long blonde hair, sparkling blue eyes, and graceful smile before they noticed anything else. Many claimed they loved her. But most only loved the image they saw. After several painful relationships, Emily had become cautious. So when Sarah arranged the blind date, Emily came up with a plan. If he's interested in me because of how I look, I'll know immediately. She opened her wardrobe and intentionally selected the least attractive outfit she could find. A baggy brown sweater, loose black pants, old sneakers. She tied her beautiful hair into a messy bun and wore oversized glasses she didn't need. Then she removed every trace of makeup. Looking at herself, she almost laughed. She looked 10 years older. Perfect. Let's see how sincere this man really is, she whispered. What Emily didn't know was that her blind date was none other than billionaire entrepreneur Alexander Reed. And Alexander had his own secret. Across town, Alexander sat inside his penthouse overlooking the city skyline. At 34, he was one of the country's youngest billionaires. His technology company was worth billions. Magazines called him the Golden Bachelor. Women constantly pursued him. Models, actresses, social media influencers. Everywhere he went, someone wanted his attention. At first, it felt flattering. Eventually, it became exhausting. Most women didn't see Alexander. They saw his money, his status, his private jets, his luxury lifestyle. Over time, he stopped trusting people's intentions. When his assistant arranged the blind date through a mutual connection, Alexander almost canceled. Then he heard something unusual. The woman knew almost nothing about him. She wasn't impressed by his achievements. She wasn't even interested. For the first time in years, Alexander became curious. Maybe this would be different. That evening, Emily entered the restaurant. The elegant dining room sparkled with crystal chandeliers. Well-dressed guests filled every table. Emily immediately felt out of place. Several people glanced at her oversized sweater. A waiter raised an eyebrow. She ignored them. Then she spotted a tall man standing near the window. Dark hair, sharp jawline, confident posture. He looked like he belonged on a magazine cover. Emily blinked. No way. That couldn't be her date. The man smiled warmly and approached. Emily. She nodded cautiously. Alexander. He extended his hand. To her surprise, his smile didn't fade when he looked at her. No disappointment. No confusion. No judgment. Just genuine warmth. Emily felt slightly disappointed. Her test wasn't working. They sat down. For the first 20 minutes, Emily waited for him to reveal his true nature. Instead, he asked thoughtful questions. What inspires you? What makes you happy? What would you do if money didn't matter? Nobody had asked her those questions before. Most men asked about her appearance. Alexander seemed interested in her thoughts. Hours passed. Conversation flowed naturally. They discussed books, travel, dreams, family, childhood memories. For the first time in years, Emily forgot she was testing someone. She simply enjoyed herself. Alexander felt the same. Emily wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't flirting aggressively. She wasn't pretending to be someone else. She was authentic. And authenticity was rare. Very rare. Halfway through dinner, a famous business executive approached their table. Alexander. The man exclaimed. Emily looked confused. The executive shook Alexander's hand enthusiastically. I heard your company broke another record this quarter. Alexander smiled politely. Thank you. The executive walked away. Emily narrowed her eyes. Your company? Alexander hesitated. I own a technology firm. What kind of technology firm? A large one. Emily laughed. That sounds suspiciously vague. Alexander chuckled. It is. Neither mentioned it again. But Emily felt curious. Who exactly was this man? A few days later, they met again. Then again. And again. Each meeting strengthened their connection. Emily still hadn't discovered the full truth about Alexander. Alexander still hadn't revealed his wealth. He wanted her feelings to be genuine. Not influenced by money. Weeks turned into months. They grew closer. Emily found herself looking forward to every text message, every phone call, every date. She felt safe with him. Respected. Valued. For the first time, she believed someone truly saw her. Not her appearance. Not an idealized version. Just her. One afternoon, Alexander invited her to a charity event. Emily arrived wearing a simple blue dress. As she entered the ballroom, she froze. Gigantic screens displayed Alexander's face. News reporters surrounded him. Photographers chased him. People treated him like royalty. Emily's jaw dropped. A woman standing nearby whispered, "That's Alexander Reed, the billionaire." Emily nearly dropped her purse. Billionaire. The Alexander Reed. The famous entrepreneur. The man worth billions. Her mind raced. Suddenly everything made sense. The executive. The secrecy. The luxurious restaurants. The occasional bodyguards. Alexander noticed her shocked expression. His smile disappeared. For the first time, he looked nervous. He approached carefully. "Emily, you never told me. I wanted you to know me first." Emily stared at him. Part of her felt betrayed. Another part understood exactly why he had hidden the truth. After all, she had hidden things too. Including the fact that she deliberately dressed unattractively on their first date. Neither had been entirely honest. That evening, they sat together on a balcony overlooking the city lights. Alexander broke the silence. "Are you angry?" "A little." "Fair." Emily smiled softly. "I lied too." Alexander looked surprised. "What do you mean?" She laughed. "Remember our first date?" "Of course. I dressed as badly as possible." Alexander blinked. "What?" "I wanted to test you." For several seconds he stared at her. Then he burst out laughing. The kind of laughter that made tears appear in his eyes. "You were testing me." "Yes. And I thought you genuinely liked giant sweaters." Emily laughed too. The tension disappeared instantly. Alexander shook his head. "So that's why." "Why what?" "I thought you were different because you didn't care about appearances." Emily smiled. "And I thought you were different because you didn't care about mine." They sat quietly. Then Alexander took her hand. "I didn't fall for your clothes." Emily looked into his eyes. "What did you fall for?" Alexander answered honestly. "Your heart." For the first time, Emily believed those words completely. Months later, their relationship continued to grow. Alexander introduced her to his family. Emily introduced him to hers. Both families approved immediately. Everyone noticed how happy they were together. One evening, Alexander invited Emily to the place where they had first met. The same restaurant. The same table. The same view. Emily smiled when she arrived. "This feels familiar." Alexander stood and pulled out her chair. "That's the idea." Dinner passed beautifully. Then Alexander suddenly stood. The entire restaurant became quiet. Emily's heart raced. Alexander reached into his pocket and knelt on one knee. Gasps filled the room. Emily covered her mouth. Tears instantly appeared in her eyes. "Emily Carter," Alexander said softly, "the day I met you, you wore the most unforgettable outfit I've ever seen." The guests laughed gently. Emily laughed through her tears. Alexander continued, "You taught me that genuine love isn't based on appearances, money, or status." His voice trembled. "It's built on trust, friendship, respect, and understanding." He opened a small velvet box. Inside sparkled a breathtaking diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" Emily didn't hesitate. "Yes." Applause erupted throughout the restaurant. Alexander slipped the ring onto her finger. Then he stood and embraced her. At that moment, neither cared about billions of dollars. Neither cared about appearances. Neither cared about status. They only cared about each other. 1 year later, they were married. The wedding was elegant but meaningful. Friends and family surrounded them. During the reception, Sarah approached Emily with a grin. "So," she said, "how does it feel to marry a billionaire?" Emily looked across the room. Alexander was laughing with her father. His smile was genuine. His happiness was real. Emily smiled. "I didn't marry a billionaire." Sarah looked confused. Emily's eyes softened. "I married the man who looked beyond my appearance when everyone else noticed it first." Across the room, Alexander caught her gaze. He smiled. Emily smiled back. And in that moment, she remembered the oversized sweater, the messy hair, and the ridiculous glasses. The disguise that was supposed to push him away had led her directly to true love. Because sometimes the right person doesn't fall in love with what the world sees. They fall in love with who you truly are. And that kind of love is worth more than all the billions in the world.